Hey everybody, Matt Bell here again. It's what's today? It's Thursday. It's day. I know what day it's not. It's not payday. And ugh. I know it's horrible for musicians and everything, but we are eventually going to get through this thing some way somehow. And part of the way I want to help do that is to give you guys just some cool conversations to listen to. I've got another friend of mine here with us today. Let's see, who have I talked to so far? I talked to Rob Janoff. I talked to Mia Asano. I talked to Bridget O'Regan. And today we've got Andy Reiner, the skiing fiddler. He's actually sitting outside his house right now in Colorado. And it's freezing cold out there. It's funny, Bridget and I were just talking about this the other day, about how stinking cold it is in some of these places. And I cannot figure out why any human being would want to live anywhere where it goes below 80. But Andy's doing it, and he's there. So we're going to pop over to him right now. And here he comes. Andy Reiner,
Hello.
What's happening, man?
What's up, friends? How's it going? I'm just hanging outside in my mittens.
This is insanity, dude.
Man, it was warm yesterday. It was shorts. People were out running, but today we seem to have a thin layer of ice covering everything. And because of the way that we have been living in this house, that we're still out for like less than a week, is Joy, my wife, who's a cellist, and she's a professor. She's actually teaching a class right now at Naropa University from our living room. But it wasn't that. I thought like we might get loud and boisterous, so I should probably just go hang out outside and make you feel as cold as possible.
Now, what would make you think that you and I would get loud and boisterous?
Oh, I don't know. You never know.
The last time we saw each other was in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah.
Like a
We were
couple weeks
pretending-
ago when the world was normal and like musicians would it was crazy. People would actually gather in large groups in a room,
And
breathing
play
on each
music.
other.
Yeah.
And then they would pay a musician to stand up front and do his musician thing, and it was glorious. And nobody does that
Yeah.
anymore.
People would play music together in the same room.
How quaint. The good old days.
Those were the days, the good old days.
Yeah.
That's where
March.
That's the good old days.
The good old days.
Nice.
It's crazy how fast things change, right? It's like you'll see these videos of concerts and you're like, oh my God, those people are all breathing on each other.
Right. Well, yeah, I don't know about these bands who are hanging out. I don't think they're doing their proper social distancing. To be honest, I think it's our patriotic duty to stay within a very small space and only interact with the people that we know, just to save the grandmas and the folks who are maybe immune system deficient. We got to help them. Even if you feel big and strong, I think it's really important that all of us take it seriously. So I'm taking it seriously. I've got my mittens, and you're talking about the ASTA conference, and we met all these string teachers, and when we met them, they had classrooms, they had schools, and all of a sudden, all these emails for great people that I just met. It's actually, I can interact with them more right now than I would have if I had to go to their school physically, because everyone is all in on streaming.
Yeah, I taught a class in Los Angeles Monday, and I'm teaching a class in Ohio or something tomorrow. I've chatted with people in, Los Angeles. I've chatted with people in Toronto, in Boston, in Colorado. We're just having a good old time right now. Somebody from Texas just texted me. So, we're staying in touch with each other. I miss playing with other people. I miss crowds. I miss that energy that you get from being in a room with 1,000 people all screaming at you, man. I miss that with every fiber of my being. But if we're cool for a couple of months, we'll get back to it.
That's the hope. In the meantime, I kind of think our job is to make the best of it and try and stay healthy. I
Well,
mean,
here's to that.
cheers to you.
Cheers. So you got,
Yeah.
I'm drinking a Blue Moon. You got to tell me what you're drinking.
So this is a lager that I made. I've been homebrewing for about 12 years now, and I love the creative process of making a beer and trying to figure out what flavors do I want to taste. And this is the first time that I ever had a chance to keep something consistently cold enough to actually make a lager. And so I tried it. It was a pain in the ass, and it came out great, and I'm loving it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So if it's a pain but it turns out okay, then it's all good, right?
Oh yeah. It was worth it. Definitely worth the extra effort.
So we got a bunch of people tune in. Y'all drop in the comments section who you are and where you are. I can't see until you comment who all is here. So tell us who's here, and yeah, we'd like to know who you are or where you're at.
Yeah.
That's
And
bad
especially
English,
if
by the
you
way,
have
where
any-
you're at.
Especially if you have any questions about music or life that we could, or salmon that we could help with.
Or salmon.
Yeah.
I do like salmon.
Yeah.
I've got family in Alaska. I was up visiting my family in Alaska. I say a few years ago. It was really like 12 years ago. But we were out hanging out with my cousin in Anchorage during the day, and we got home, and their neighbor had been fishing, and they left a cooler full of salmon on the front porch. And they're like, yeah, you guys enjoy this tonight. We caught more fish than we can eat. And these things were swimming 2 hours ago, so enjoy. And that was the best salmon I'd ever had.
That's right. And if you go to a restaurant in Anchorage, it's not going to be like the home cooked stuff.
Mm-mm.
Not the same. And so I've had the privilege to get to Alaska a couple times. I played a festival up there. I taught at a fiddle camp a couple times. And I'm supposed to go twice, once in June and once in July. I have no idea if any of it's going to happen.
My son is supposed to go in July and for his birthday, and I'm relatively sure it's not going to happen, but we can keep our fingers crossed.
We'll see what happens. But these folks who caught, they're like real part of their family is actual commercial salmon fishermen seasonally, and mandolin players otherwise.
One is very much like the other.
Well, well, if you bring the mandolin on the salmon fishing boat, I think it passes the time a lot quicker and a lot more easily, a lot more fun. Yeah, but like this family made fried king salmon. They just breaded it and they fried it, and it's the best salmon I've ever had. Still.
Akiva's here. Do you know Akiva Wax?
Kiva Wax?
Yeah, he's from Israel.
Akiva
He's
Wax.
hanging out in Chicago right now. He's a left-handed 7-string Viper player. As if like the unicorn of unicorns.
Wow.
And he's a shredder, man. It's crazy.
That's awesome. Cool. Man, I did put in a super good amount of time with the Viper from about age 14 to like maybe 30. That was my electric violin that I played.
Okay.
And I had a metal band called Devil in the Kitchen.
Yeah, I was watching some of your stuff today.
Yeah, we just our old bass player sent me a message like, "Hey man, do you got any videos? Because all we had online was like an album. It's like, do we even exist online? Was this a real band? Did we really play shows?" And so I found a couple old videos, and I'm pretty stoked. The quality is very low. I had to convert them from real media, which is a format that nobody even remembers. So, but now they're out there. I put out 5 videos from an old VFW show that I organized.
I'll be honest with you, though. If it's a metal show and the production is super high quality, like how authentic is that really? That's not real metal. That's fake metal.
Ah, there you have it. That's right. It's the real experience. It's kind of lo-fi.
Like you saw I don't know if you saw Earl Manian, right? He had posted a video of like some kids, like 13 or 14-year-old kids in a metal band throwing down in like a Denny's after hours.
Oh, nice.
It's like the most metal thing ever. The kids like, "What's the F is up, Denny's?"
Well, that's one of the best parts is the energy transcends any kind of like subtlety and finesse in a way.
Yeah. They had like all these fluorescent lights on. The place is all like bright and lit up, and these kids are slam dancing around in a Denny's. That's metal right
Nice.
there.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, I had like super long hair. I was like, metal runs through my veins. Like all I listened to was metal, and all my friends were the metal heads, and we'd hang out at the metal bench, and we'd go to shows as often as possible, which luckily came by where we lived pretty frequently. So we saw all kinds of. We were really into the extreme metal, like, you know, the black metal, death metal, some power metal. We saw Dio the year before he died. It felt pretty legendary when it was happening, and looking back, it still feels pretty legendary.
Yeah, no doubt.
I was fortunate enough to bring earplugs to the Manowar show, which I still think is the loudest. I mean, they brought a full wall of full stacks and turned all of them up to 11. It was like, dude, you're not even using the PA. Like,
Yeah.
it is so loud. Everyone in there without earplugs probably got irreversible hearing damage. But there's that energy. So there you have it.
It's a thing. So then you took a hard turn. Like, you grew up playing fiddle though, right?
Yeah.
So then
Yeah.
did you take like a detour, or were you doing fiddle and metal at the same time?
No, I don't really consider any of it a detour. So I started learning fiddle tunes from my dad, who plays fiddle, and he's awesome, and he runs Fiddle Hell, Massachusetts now. So I got into metal, and the first thing I did with Stash Weisslauch, who now has been playing guitar with Bruce Molsky, was we started a death metal band, and we were terrible. We were called Ossuaric Mortuary. We fired the drummer and played with the drum machine.
Oh.
Oops.
Wow.
I don't know that we became a better band at that point, but whatever. But then we started playing with a couple other folks, and we made this one fiddle speed metal song of this fiddle tune that we heard on a Natalie McMaster record called Catharsis, which is like every 14-year-old fiddle player's dream tune. Just like G minor, double shuffle, flat 6, flat 7 chord changes. And it's a really great metal tune. So we found out that that people actually liked that song. They didn't like any of our death metal, but when we played fiddle tunes with like speed metal backing, like, you know, ultimate rhythm section, metal drums, bass, heavy bass, and like super distorted metal guitar, that was the sound. So we just put it all together. It seemed perfectly logical at the time.
Well, sometimes you just stumble into something, you know?
Yeah. I think if that band had been a band now, we could have really gone somewhere. But you know, there's all these people commenting on our old album from like South America, like, "Oh, this is the best folk metal ever." Like, where are they now? It's like, where were you when we were a band?
Yeah, that's right.
I'd still be doing this if people actually gave us money for this music.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is one of the downsides of being a metalhead.
It is hard to make the money with the metal. But
Indeed.
check this out, man. I really don't think that I took any kind of detour, because yes, now I compose more string orchestra music, and I love string orchestras. And what is a cello section other than a giant section of heavy metal? Okay, you're talking a collection of people holding giant string instruments playing super low notes together. It is the most metal thing I've ever heard of. Okay, and when I play fiddle tunes, even if there's some like plinky mandolin kind of stuff happening because someone else is doing it, in my head the whole time is that's what's going on in my head.
That's awesome.
You know, so it all kind of mixes together, and I don't feel like I have to only play one style of music. My style of music is, I like music, and this is my music. It's influenced by all the kinds of music that I like.
They had asked Keith Urban something about that. You know, Keith Urban is a country singer. He's an Australian. but had moved to Nashville and was, they're asking him like, how does a Australian guy get into like country Nashville music? And he said, man, here's my thing. There's two kinds of songs. There's good songs and there's bad songs.
Yeah.
I just try to play good songs, and you guys can put any other kind of label you want on them.
That's right. Yeah, I want to play music in a music band. I don't want to be in a bluegrass band. I want to be so right now I'm in a jamgrass band, which I think is like it's the most Colorado thing there is. Okay, you take like jam band music and you take bluegrass and then you make it way too fast and then you take rock solos and we do like original music, we do covers. We do a Rage Against the Machine cover. We do Grateful Dead. We do like kind of live-tronica sounding stuff once in a while. When it gets late into the set and people are like really feeling it, we'll just like all of a sudden it'll just be like I have this wompy bass sound that I'll do. We get a little dubstep action going, and it makes people dance. And that's something that I never got when I lived on the East Coast from playing live music as much. People kind of sit there with their beer and they cross their arms and they talk. Now, in Colorado, in the Mountain West, when you play music that you can dance to, people dance to it. Whether there's a big crowd or a little crowd. I remember playing in Missoula, Montana, to like 15 people. And normally a 15-person loud rock jam show, everyone would just be hiding in the back with their beer, just kind of observing. No. Every single one of these people was on the dance floor dancing like no one could see them, like they're in their bedroom and nobody can see them. And like
that's awesome.
That is a different vibe than what I get when I'm in Boston, when I'm in, New York, when I'm on the East Coast, anywhere, the South. People just dance out here and they don't worry about it. It's cool.
Oh, look who's here. Neil's here.
Hey, Neil.
What's up, man? Andy in the house.
Yeah, a bluegrass metal band. Akiva, I did. No one gave us money. That's why we... Been there, done that. I'm trying the next thing.
Yeah. So you've got a podcast that I want people to know about.
Oh yeah, my podcast is called the River of Suck podcast. You can find it by going to riverofsuck.com, or you can open any kind of iTunes, Spotify, any kind of podcast app and just type River of Suck. So let's, if it's cool, I'd love to just tell them what the analogy is, because it sounds weird.
I want you to tell them whatever you want to tell them. This is your time, man.
Man. So it's funny because the title is called River of Suck, and like once in a while I get a really like usually over 50 person just who really thinks that they're going to convince me that it's a terrible name and that I should stop using it because they've been offended. And I appreciate that response, and it kind of in a funny way makes me believe I'm doing the right thing. Like if I'm pissing off 5% of people but 95% of people think it's a cool idea, that's the kind of thing that I want to hang out with. So anyway, I went to Berklee College of Music, and I had a teacher named John McGann. He was one of my top mentors, and he's unfortunately, he passed on really early by surprise, and it was pretty tragic. So everyone, if you don't know who John McGann is, go look him up. He's got some great albums you can listen to, some YouTube videos. He was my octave mandolin hero. He played. Do you know that guitar player, Julian Lage?
Mm-mm.
He's like a shredder jazz guitar player.
Okay.
But I saw a show. I mean, but John is like my hero, and Julian's just some like young hotshot guitar player. But I remember after that show, John was like, "Man, playing with Julian makes me feel like I'm trying to play with oven mitts on." He's the most humble guy of all time. He told the best jokes. He could play classical music. He could play Celtic music, and he could play bluegrass. He could play gypsy jazz on mandolin, guitar. Just fun, hilarious, wonderful dude. So he would talk to me in my lessons about the River of Suck, because it's like, well, you suck now, but let's talk about the River of Suck. You have to suck at something before you can be good at it. So you're standing on one edge of the River of Suck, peering over the edge. Behind you is your comfort cave. You're standing on your comfort shore, and you look across to the other side, and you can see little tiny future versions of yourself who can do the things you wish you could do now. It's basically your goals. But the problem is, in between you and your future you is a bunch of whitewater rapids, rocks, and thought piranhas. And these thought piranhas are kind of the embodiment of those negative thoughts that just appear in your head to try to sabotage your good vibes. So for me, the River of Suck is an analogy I've been using for a while to talk about the learning process and having a growth mindset and not quitting things while it's hard. But I got tired of hearing myself talk about it. I thought it'd be more fun in an interview format where I could ask questions and listen more instead of just me blabbing away. And so I've had the opportunity to interview some amazing people like Rashad Eggleston, the super creative cello player. I've interviewed some scientists, a microbiologist who goes down to Antarctica to hang out with water bears. I've interviewed Temple Grandin, who figured out how to make cows not freak out when they're walking into the slaughterhouse. And my latest one is with Kristen Ulmer, who is a former pro skier, the first most extreme woman female skier on the planet, who's now become a fear and anxiety expert after she got burnt out from not dealing with her emotions. So it's the kind of thing we talk about, emotions, and how do we learn better and how do we grow. It's not a very comfortable subject for a lot of people, and especially, you know, let's say men, we're not taught to, like, by society, to hang out with our emotions and to treat them with any kind of respect. So I've been learning a lot and I'm having a lot of fun. So I just hope we can kind of, that's the point of the swim team, is you're not in this by yourself. We're really in it together.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a fantastic analogy, and I've used that analogy with a lot of people since I've heard you do that. Always give credit, of course. But it's it's like it is true that you're not going to be good at something the first time you do it.
Yeah.
You know, I teach improvisation, and I don't teach beginning players usually. I generally teach advanced players that are advanced classical players, but they're beginning improvisers. And I've tell them, you know, when you first picked up your violin, were you good? You know, did you pick it up and start playing Shostakovich? No, you did not. So let's talk about whole notes.
Yes.
You know, we're gonna improvise, and the first thing we're gonna do is, when you see a C chord, guess what you're gonna play? You're gonna play a C. It's safe, it's easy, and hey, look at you. You're improvising, because I didn't even tell you which C to play. You just picked one. Look at that. You're improvising, brother.
Oh, yeah.
So you're going to really be bad at this before you get good at it. So just embrace it.
Totally.
It's cool. You can practice and you can suck at home. And then you're going to go out and you're going to suck in public. And people are going to go like, whoa, I thought that guy was a professional violinist. And he just ate a big bowl of crap. And you go, well, yeah, man, it happens. It happens.
Yeah, man. I actually have a theory that we should be teaching beginners how to improvise. I'm talking to all of my beginning students about getting looping pedals, playing bass lines, playing inner voices, and improvising right from the beginning. Because I think this thing happens when people wait until they're good at the violin to start being creative. And I think that's ridiculous. I think we should be creative when we play music. That's it. I think we should be creative when we should play music. No matter if you're a little kid or an adult or an amazing expert or a little child. I don't care. It's true.
It's true. I mean, that's, Mark O'Connor, we just had lunch with him the other day. Or you and I had dinner with him, I think. And that's the O'Connor method starts teaching improv right from the beginning. And the class that I was teaching in LA, it was for USC students. that are all people that are working on their music degrees, but they basically don't improv. So we were talking about playing blues and playing, you pull out
Yeah.
B.B. King, and here's a guy who made a whole career out of 5 notes.
Oh man, yeah.
And so, learn the blues and learn to embrace the simplicity of the minor pentatonic scale and using that. And then it's not just, hey, I'm going to play a D, but how do I play that D?
Right.
There's 1,000 ways to attack the note. There's 1,001 ways to sustain it. There's another 1,000 ways to end this thing, and the permutation of all the combinations in there. There's an infinite number of ways to play that one note, and you start exploring those things, and the next thing you know, you're looking at your Bach differently.
Totally.
So, I think to be a well-rounded musician, even if you're like, nope, I'm only classical, I'm never going to improvise on a stage, I'm telling you that practicing B.B. King stuff in your bedroom is going to make you better at playing Bach in Carnegie Hall.
But I'm just not even convinced that the people who can play the most notes, the fastest, the cleanest, have the most to say. I'm a little bit more into like phrasing and like developing an idea. Like, I know you think you can play a D, but can you really feel a D? Like playing with drones, like playing with microtones, stuff like that. I'm more impressed when people can develop their ideas in an interesting way and lead to something with more notes than someone who just gets up there. Here's a lick I practiced. Here's another lick I practiced. Check out this lick I practiced.
Yeah.
I don't care about licks. I don't care about the licks that you've been practicing. I care about you taking a risk. Like, say you're in playing a concert, not that we have audiences anymore and we're blah, blah, blah. But taking a risk in front of people, diving off the cliff and hoping that you can find your parachute or a nice soft pillow to land in. That's what impresses me personally.
I just did a video the other day and I was breaking down a solo that I did, and I was talking about how I was intentionally playing certain notes out of tune. And I know that I'm going to get some people just, wait, what? You're intentionally out of tune? You go, yeah, man. I mean, there's, like you said, there's way more than one way to play a D. Yeah. And if, say the D's the one, and I want to, maybe I want to play that just a little flat. We're going to put a little tension into this thing, and maybe I'll resolve it, maybe I won't. And that's a game time decision. But, playing notes always I don't want to get to the point where you say playing in tune is not important. Playing in tune and the ability to play in tune is infinitely important.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to play in tune in order to intentionally play out of tune the way that you want to for that particular note.
So, yeah, absolutely. So I've been talking about what I'm calling rhythmic intonation, because one thing I hear a lot of, like, I really don't want to harp on classical people, but like I hear people new say to fiddle music, even if they're coming from something that's not classical, they start sliding into things because they think that's how you sound fiddly, and they think that's how you like sound cool, and it just sounds like you don't know what you're doing. It sounds cheesy. It sounds bad. I don't like it. I'm a very friendly, opinionated person.
Send it, man. That's why we're here.
But check it out. So if you're just like sliding to slide, there's literally no point.
Right.
But if you're like, I'm going to slide from the end of beat 4 and get my note in tune right at the downbeat, that's when it sounds cool. I'm going to slide in and out in this note. I'm going to slide down, and I'm going to slide back on beat 3. That is how you make a slide happen. If you're not thinking about your intonation in a rhythmic way, you're doing it wrong.
That's true.
So rhythmize your intonation, and your world will never be the same.
There you go. Yeah, I got a chance at Asta to sit in on one of the classes that you and your dad were teaching, and you guys are fantastic teachers.
Oh, thanks, man.
So talk a little bit about some of the stuff that you do with your dad, the fiddle hell stuff, and some of the classes that you're teaching, how you're using fiddle tunes, traditional fiddle tunes, to teach people that maybe don't live in that world.
Yeah. Well, I think fiddle tunes are the perfect opportunity to experience 1, 4, 5 chords, flat 7 chords, um, how to take solos in a form in a kind of more with more approachable chord changes than say like a really intense jazz tune. Like I showed someone today, Angelina Baker.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a D chord and it's got a G chord. So one of the issues I think with teaching improvisation is we go straight to like, here's a thing with a million chords and it's a form and whatever.
Giant steps, everybody.
Yeah, but like being able to say something meaningful going from a 1 chord to a 4 chord is really important in any kind of music. So it just, in terms of improvisation, I think it provides a really nice way in. And also the joiny any aspect of like the fact that you can just put so many people together in one room other than during this crisis and just play a simple melody together and feel the pocket, feel the groove on a really deep level where it's not about me, look at me. It's like, check out what we can do together. So that kind of vibe that you can create around a campfire is inherently different and less ego based than some other music, I think. That said, bluegrass music has too many solos and not enough playing the tune. Old time Appalachian music doesn't have enough solos. So I I think it's possible. I mean, because you got these adult beginners, right? They just want to play tunes. They don't care about improv. They just want to play music with people. And then you've got kids for whom that's really boring. So I think it means something different to a lot of different people. And one of the things we do at Fiddle Hell is bring every genre that we can think of. And we have surveys and we read them. And if we're missing a fiddle genre, we get complaints like, we noticed that you don't have enough klezmer Swedish workshops. It's like, oh man. Oh, I guess we don't have enough of that. So like we have multiple kinds of French Canadian music, Irish music, Scottish, Cape Breton, bluegrass, old time, gypsy jazz, modern jazz, free improv. Gosh, it's like we have 22 simultaneous workshops at the same time. If you go to fiddlehell.com and click schedule, look at what we've got going on in 1 hour. So we have like 800 people, including instructors, come. It's just a giant pile of fiddle people hanging out, jamming, taking workshops, giving concerts, and hanging out, making new friends. So that's what we do.
Yeah, I've got so many friends that have been to that. I haven't been to one yet, but I need to make that happen. It's really way outside of what I do, but
Right.
I think I could probably learn a lot.
I am trying to keep it fresh, though. We had Joe Dennins in here.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like your concert last year had Joe D and who else?
Tracy Silverman, Julie Lyon Lieberman. This year we've got Christian Howes is going to come back for his second year. I think he hasn't been there for about. I think he came for 1 day 4 years ago. Now we're going to get him for 2 whole days.
Woo!
It's going to be sweet. Keep the so-called. I mean, yeah. What we call the eclectic styles in the ASTA community is funny because it's still alternative eclectic styles compared to fiddle music. But
Right.
I'm trying to always make sure there's an element of that because it's really like actually what I got as a kid going to O'Connor camps when I was 11 and 12 was just this big pile of possibilities because you're not stuck in one genre. It's like, here's John Hartford, here's Buddy Spiker, here's Natalie McMaster. Like, what?
Yeah, it's
All in
really
the
crazy
same
to think
place.
about like how differently people approach the same instrument and the same chords and the same tune. I'm sure you were in the jam at Asta the other night, and Christian Howes takes a solo, and Joe D takes a solo, and I think you took a solo, and it's like these solos are all it's the same tune, the same progression, the same feel, and they're all going in radically different directions.
Yeah. I think that's one of the best things about string instruments. Like, you can't even help it. You give a bunch of total beginners a violin or a viola or cello and teach them the same tune and then have them each play what they learned, they already sound different. So this whole string instrument thing is like, but compared to like a mandolin player trying to make their own sound, or a guitar player trying to stand out, it's like the violin is so hard to play, but so expressive. And that's what everyone is so jealous of who plays other instruments.
Well, they ought to be.
Yeah. String instruments rule. Come on.
So I've got a video of you here that I'm going to play for people, and I don't know, you won't be able to see this, I don't think, unless you're looking at your Facebook. So I'm going to play, but this is a video. It's just a short clip of you skiing and playing the violin at the same time.
Nice.
So here this goes.
Sound waves flying by, never quite the same. If you don't hear them dancing by, you've got yourself to blame. You've got yourself to blame. Pull your earbuds out and close your eyes. Just give it a chance. When you hear the bear coming round the bend, he'll keep more than your pants. He'll keep more than your pants. Wrestling cricket.
All right, so talk to us about that, about skiing and playing the fiddle, like the two highlights of your life, right outside of brewing beer and.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I still do this, but one of the things I've been doing for, I guess, a long time now is going on tour by myself with a looping pedal and doing workshops and playing at ski areas, doing house concerts, just hustling my face off to try and go make money in some ski towns so I can go play music and go skiing. So I did that enough times. People were like, "Oh, so you're on tour, you're playing your fiddle and you're going skiing. Like, you ever play fiddle while you go skiing?" And I was like, "No, I haven't done that." And I got so frustrated about people asking me that question that I was like, I need a better answer than "no, I haven't done that yet." So I was hanging out in Salt Lake City with my super good friend, fiddle teacher June Crosby, who's just teaching a bunch of kids and adults fiddle tunes in Salt Lake. I was like, "Do you have any instruments that are terrible that you don't care about that I could have, that if it broke you wouldn't be sad?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, check out this I got this fiddle off eBay. It's painted black. It's painted black. It's it's not very good, but it's a fiddle-shaped object." So I said, "Okay, perfect, great." And my next stop was Silverton Mountain in Colorado, where I didn't live in Colorado at that time. I lived in Boston. And so I showed up at Silverton with this piece of garbage fiddle. It's really bad. It's like really not a good instrument, but you can tune it and it will play music technically. So I convinced my friend Jacob Parchinsky, who's the best snowboarder in the world, in my opinion. It's like, "Man, can we just take a run? I need you to film this." And I skied top to bottom at Silverton Mountain, which has no greens, no blues, no blacks. They only have double blacks. It's expert skiing only. I skied top to bottom while playing the fiddle, and my life has never quite been the same.
Yeah. So are you gonna have a repeat performance of this? You gonna do this on the reg or no?
Yeah, we try to do it a couple times a year. We have found out the limit to like how cold can it be and be still, like, if you look up Half Pelican, Mount Baker, fiddle and banjo. Joy, my wife, played the banjo while skiing. She didn't have a stunt cello with her at the time, and I skied some double blacks while playing the fiddle there, and it was just so cold that I almost injured my thumb. It was in Washington. The locals were calling it the coldest day of the year, and here I was skiing under the lift in front of everyone, cheering, like playing Soldier's Joy. But not like a nice version, like like just just a really scratchy, fun, groove oriented. I don't care about quality, getting the job done because it's cold. It's so cold. But so I think that's the limit. I think it's a little nicer when it's warm out. But
me too.
We did
when it's like 80.
Yeah, but I have a friend who called me up like about 2 months ago. He's like, man, I have this vision of you jumping off a cliff while playing your fiddle. Like, I want to get that photo. I was like, I want you to get that photo. Let's do it. So the day that we picked to do it, it snowed 4 feet in 3 days. So we went out and it was cold. So I brought them to a spot with a good cliff, jumped off of it, put my mittens back on, and that was it. But I got a real good picture out of it.
Awesome.
So it's like, how do you balance the actual sound of your playing while you're skiing if your photographer is far away? Like, it just doesn't sound like anything.
Yeah.
So that's why the clip you played, I kind of made it into a music video.
Sure.
But I'm always looking for ways to like what I think I need is maybe an electric instrument and a mobile recording interface.
Yeah.
So then I could be recording my own sounds into my phone in my pocket.
Yeah.
And then linking that up with the video. So I think that might be the next level.
Heck yeah. Well, my son's a BMX rider, so we're out at the BMX parks all the time when there's not a plague going on. And it's not uncommon. These guys will shoot up 14, 15 feet in the air, and every now and then you hear one of them up in the air go, ah! So you gotta get that mixed in with the playing. Ah!
Yeah. I mean, it's always a work in progress because it just seems like why am I doing this? Like, is this for music? Is this for skiing?
It's because
you can. Is this just I'm doing it because I can and because I'm the skiing fiddler. So why not? If I don't do it, someone else will do it.
That's right.
Actually, you know what though? There are other skiing fiddlers out there, and all of them are my favorite people in the universe. I have a student named Gus Trich out there. He just sent right before all this went down, he was at a ski area taking a jump and skiing down playing the fiddle. He said people were throwing snowballs at him. But and he's like, I don't know, I think he's like 14 or something, but it's like, you're my brother. Absolutely. Any skiing fiddler is just one of my favorite people.
So then we're going to have to make this a contest, right? You're going to have to play Flight of the Bumblebee while you're skiing straight down the mountain. Whoever can play it the fastest and end at the same spot when they cross the line is the winner.
Oh, yeah. I do want to get a bunch of people playing instruments to do it together and see if we could ski together. I think that's another one of the next levels, because that would be really fun. If you had like 20 people playing the same tune or piece of music all together. Rob Jenoff is saying, heavy bow, how do you keep your bow from flailing? Well, if you look at the latest picture I posted, which is, I think on my Facebook, it's my what do you call it, the cover photo?
Yeah.
It's currently set as my cover photo. My bow is in the air. I was playing, but the moment the shot was taken, my bow is slightly above the strings in the air. So how do you keep your bow from flailing? I think it's, you get the picture and then you look and you go, oh man, I got to keep my bow on the string as I'm flying through the air. And that's just something that might take more practice. But generally speaking, I use coda bow because, come on, you could put it in the snow and it still sounds great.
Sure.
And I use now at this point, my stunt fiddle is a Yamaha student instrument. I went to Yamaha. I was like, you've got to have something in a closet that you can't sell. I want it. And they said, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Now I have this student fiddle that it's a little messed up and I'm messing it up more.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing about the coda bow is if you need to, you can use it as a ski pole.
I'm going to have to disagree with that. It's not a very good, one of the behind the scenes moments is like, okay, I've jumped off this cliff and my photographer wants me to do it again. Okay. I've already thrown my fiddle case to Joy off of a cliff. I've already thrown my backpack. I've thrown my ski poles, and now it's really just me and a fiddle and some skis, and they want me to walk back up the cliff so I can get back up and do it again. that's when you realize that the bow is a terrible ski pole.
Hey, Rob Janoff, what's going on, man? Good to see you here. For some reason, I was not scrolled to the bottom of the comments. I missed a couple. I missed Kevin Oates, too.
Oh, I love Kevin Oates. I hope you're doing good with your orchestra. Hopefully they can be online right now. Kevin Oates is one of the most inspiring people I've ever met. He's like a wizard to those kids.
There's Rob.
Hey. Yeah. Yeah, there's so many people with good ideas. And the internet, we're just learning from each other this is one of the benefits of this moment is we're learning more from each other faster than we were before.
Yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to ask you about. We're probably going to be in this stupid quarantine thing for, maybe a couple of months.
Right.
How do we redeem this time? How do we make sure that we're not wasting this time, that we can make this, if not a force for good, at least it didn't take a huge dump on everything, right?
Well, with the caveat that there are people suffering right now, there are people very sick, there are people dying, and none of them deserve it. And that's really bad, and it's terrible. We have to understand that and still find inspiration to keep going and to wake up every day in this time. It's a really hard time to get your mental game on straight if you want to be productive. Mm-hmm. So I've actually seen a lot of people posting you don't have to make a plan and stick to it right now, just be okay with being alive. And when this first happened, I took a whole week. Chris Howe's 5 seconds later, 75 videos, boom.
Yeah,
it's oh man, I'm gonna go hiking, and I'm gonna go panic buy a bunch of food, and I'm gonna make some feasts, and I'm not gonna think about anything. But then I came back and thought real hard about what am I doing wrong with my teaching? What could I do better? And what's wrong with string education? How could I do it better? So I've set forth, okay, well, I'm gonna make more videos. Why does Vi Wickham have 6,000 YouTube subscribers? Oh, he's got 650 fiddle videos. I've got a lot of catching up to do. So all of a sudden, I found what I think I'm supposed to do in this moment, and I'm spending it every moment that I have trying to make more, be of service, create better content for people to learn things. And because all these kids are in their online classes right now. Orchestra teachers, I just made a study guide for my River of Suck episode 1 with Rashad Eggleston, so an orchestra teacher could tell her students to listen to the podcast and then answer some questions in essay format.
Awesome.
We're taking orchestra class, and it's becoming English class in a way. But let's talk about how do we get better. I think it's brought a lot of anyone who is dragging their feet into the digital era has now been dragged kicking and screaming into streaming and videos and remote learning. And maybe we need to break down society and we have to start over. That's the only benefit I can see is it's forcing us to be more creative. As far as I'm concerned, I only have an online business. I don't have any gigs. I have no certainty. All the stuff I have on the calendar, I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm assuming it's not going to happen. So, how do I balance that with mental health, exercise, eating well, trying to create content, trying to teach, trying to still feel like a human? And now we're supposed to move next week. Next Wednesday, we're moving an hour away from here. So how am I going to still look like I'm doing enough videos when I move to the middle of nowhere with no cell phone service and we're trying to set up our internet? So if you don't hear much from me next week, that's why.
I hate moving, dude. Oh, I hate moving. It is amazing how much crap you can accumulate without even trying.
Yeah.
You're packing up stuff and you're like, honey, did you buy this? Because I didn't buy this. Why do we own this? What? We didn't buy this. How did this end up in our house? And why does this never happen with $100 bills? $100 bills don't just appear in my house, but strainers do. We got 14 strainers. I've never bought a strainer in my life.
14 strainers. I'm straining to figure out how do you got 14 strainers in there. Where do you put them? God. Yeah. So we're going to go through this stuff. I'm going to try and make a pile of videos this weekend so that I can keep releasing them where I have internet. And if everything goes well, you'll know it's going well because I'll still be releasing videos late into next week. So you can see how successful I was at planning ahead, or if I got caught up with like the state of the world and feeling bad by how many videos happen on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week. Not to mention, it is time for me to start editing the next River of Suck episode, which I've got pre-recorded from in person. And so I don't know, all these people who have all this time on their hands and like they're like, what do I do? I'm like, what do you mean time on your hands? I've never been busier.
Yeah, I'm in the same way, and I feel like I've been busy all day, and I feel like I haven't accomplished anything.
I don't know,
you can probably hear there's a bunch of banging outside. We found some. I've got some construction guys out here doing a few things on the house, and it's just there's so much going on. I've got a number of collaborations that I'm behind on that people have asked me to do stuff, and I haven't done it yet. I've actually got an online concert tomorrow for one of my booking agents that I'm doing, and I still haven't decided what I'm going to play. I've got a podcast episode I need to edit down this coming week. I've got a wife and 2 kids here, and I'm trying to be a dad and a husband, and it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, how did we do all that while being on tour before?
Yeah, who knows? I guess you just do it.
I feel like it's kind of like playing that whack-a-mole game all the time. It's like, what's the most important thing? I'm going to do that. What's the most important thing?
Yeah.
Whack, whack, whack. And then you realize that you had a long-term goal that you didn't even touch.
Yeah, I was up till 3:30 this morning editing my website, and I'm supposed to be working on a book that I'm writing, and I've got all these other things to do. And so I will say one thing when I talk about redeeming this time and how do we use this time to come out stronger. Yeah. Like Andy was saying, don't put it down on yourself. If like today you're like, I'm having a bad chi day today, I'm not doing anything today. I see all these people on Facebook and they're putting out all this crazy content. And you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to sit on the couch and eat chips and feel sorry for myself.
Yes, absolutely.
Go ahead. I'll give you one day. Sit on your couch and eat chips and feel sorry for yourself. Now, tomorrow, get your butt up and practice.
That's right. Practice 40 hours tomorrow.
Yeah, 40 hours ling-ling.
Oh, my God. Two sets still, they must, I don't know if those guys are roommates or like, but they seem like they're still making stuff together. I guess at a certain point you decide, I will social distance myself from every stranger that I could possibly think of. But if it's someone you can't live with, like your wife or like your family, it's like, I mean, if someone gets it, we're all getting it.
Yeah.
But we're in this together,
My wife, she does one weekend a month working in a hospital. She's in healthcare. She's mostly doing consulting work, but one weekend a month she's in the hospital. So that was her weekend last month. Oof. And it's, we're kind of like, if she gets exposed to this thing and doesn't really know it, well, we're probably all going to get it. Because you can't really not be in a room with mom,
No. It's like, are we going to quarantine each other? Oh, wait, this house we live in has no doors. No, we're not going to do that. That's impossible. That's what I'm looking forward to about this move is we're going to have our own practice space. That's why I'm outside right now, because Joy is inside teaching a college class.
I thought you just like being cold.
Matt, it's all about having the right layers. So like, I've got these gloves that are made of fleece, leather, and rabbit fur and beads that I got for playing a gig. I was paid in these mittens for playing a gig. I wouldn't normally. You can't pay rent in mittens, but like these are not your average mittens.
It's true.
I've got. Let's see.
Oh, he's getting undressed, everybody.
We've got a merino wool shirt here, and I've got a merino vest. and I've got a down jacket and a handmade by Joy merino hat, and I've got merino wool socks, and I've got a beer. I mean, dude, I am not suffering right now.
I think that's what it is. I think I'm too lazy to live where it's cold. I don't want to put all those clothes on. It's like it's too hard. It's too much work.
Oh man, no, but we go to the thrift store. You can buy a $90 Smart Wool shirt for $5 at Goodwill. At least
then you
around
gotta put
here.
4 shirts on. It's hard.
All right. Well, you got to pick your battles.
That's right.
I need you over there by the electric violin shop, hanging out where it's warm, so that I can pick up the phone and like feel connected. Or actually, you're live streaming every day. You're killing it, man. But like, we need someone to live there so I can live here.
There you
know?
go.
It's all a balancing act of someone's got to be everyone's got to be somewhere.
That's right. And we can't all be in my house because I'm going to run out of toilet paper.
Ah.
Well, hey, man, I have to scoot. I've got some other stuff I need to do this afternoon. But thank you so much for hanging out with me and sharing your view of the world with everybody. If you guys are not following Andy Reiner on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, on any of the Twitters or wherever else you are, you guys need to follow him. He's a fantastic player. He's a great dude. He's a fantastic teacher. And sometimes he jumps off a cliff with a fiddle in his hand.
That's right. Check out my YouTube channel. It's if you want to type it in, I have it backwards, unfortunately. It's fiddling skier. But so there's a bunch of videos. I've just released 7 videos yesterday, and I've got 3 more coming out today. It's just making videos, and if you like what I do, come hang out. Patreon.com/Andy Reiner. I'll bring you so many things to make your life better. As much as I can do, that is what I'm doing. I'm just trying to play my fiddle and make your life better. So thanks,
awesome.
Matt. You rule. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Take care and go get warm or something.
Oh, yeah. We're going to go. I think it's lunchtime around here.
We'll see you, Andy.
Thanks a lot, Matt. Cheers.